Good morning, children. How are you all? Hope you all are fine and doing well. Welcome to your English class. Children, today we will continue with our lesson 11, Dolls over the Ages. First, we will quickly recap what we had done in our previous video. A quick recap. Dolls are among the oldest creation of man, and archaeologists have found some dolls of clay, wood, bone and ivory from the graves and other areas excavated. As we have seen in our previous video, that dolls were the oldest creation of man, and when the archaeologists were digging the land, they have found that our ancestors, they also used dolls, and their dolls were usually made out of clay, wood, bone, and ivory. And they have found them, they have dug it out from their graves and other areas where they have excavated, right? And their earlier dolls were also made up of natural objects like sticks and stones. Now, in India, the earliest dolls unearthed from the site of the Indus Valley civilization are as old as 5,000 years, right? So, from this we can make out that in ancient times also people used to play with dolls. The dolls were used. They used to uh, use it for different purposes, right? Not only to play but to pray. They were used for other purposes also. So dolls were in existence 5,000 years ago also. American Indians made a deity of wood and used it while imparting religious instructions. Uh, some mothers made dolls of feathers and placed them in the cradle of a dead infant and carried the cradle about as though it had a living baby. Dolls of bone, ivory, and mammoth teeth were very popular. These were dressed in hide and fur. So, in ancient times, dolls were not as fancy as we get today. They were usually made out of natural things, okay, which are available from the nature, like wood, stones, sticks, right, bones. So they were made out of these things, even with the teeth of elephant, that is ivory, then mammoth teeth, and they were dressed with hide, that is the animal skin, and fur. Okay, and mother used to make dolls using feathers of the birds. So they were also used, and they used to place them in the cradle of a dead infant as if it was a living baby. And Indian Americans, American Indians, what they did was they used to make a deity, the statue of God, using the wood, and whenever they were giving some religious instructions or something, they would place it, they would use that uh, deity, that doll of wood. Dolls of cloth, wax, and papier mache also become popular. Pottery dolls became common with the children of Victorian England. They were perfect, fragile porcelain heads and rich royal clothing. Children also had a Sunday doll which was taken out of its glass case only on Sundays. So this we have discussed in previous video, that the Victorian England children, they used to have the rich and royal dolls which had a very fragile, that is, which can be easily broken, porcelain heads. Porcelain is a kind of rich, ceramic ware, right, glassware. So they had that kind of royal dolls, and they had royal clothes. And then there was a Sunday doll. So as discussed earlier, that was a little precious one, so it was kept in glass case only, and only on Sundays it was taken out for the children, and they were allowed to play it only on Sundays. So it was also called a Sunday doll. The doll houses were elaborately set up with furniture, pictures, decoration pieces, window drapes, almost everything required in a luxurious home. So, for these dolls, even there were doll houses, and doll houses had everything which a normal house has, almost everything required in a luxurious home. Now we are going to discuss about the way dolls are used in different countries and how dolls in different country differ from each other. So first of all, about Korea. In Korea, a traditional doll was made out of a bamboo pipe, and long grass was used to form the hair, and this doll did not have any feature, but just a white powder, some white powder was rubbed over a small area which showed that this is the face of the doll. So this was about Korean doll. Now some of the earliest Russian dolls. Now this slide says about Russian dolls. So some of the earliest Russian dolls were made of pine cones, and these were clothed in moss cloaks, right? And another Russian doll is Matryoshka doll. Now this Matryoshka doll is known by three names. It's called Matryoshka doll, Russian nesting doll, and also Babushka doll, right? Now it is a set of dolls of decreasing sizes placed one inside the another. A set of Matryoshkas consists of wooden figure which separates top from top. You can separate it to the bottom, and then you will inside they'll reveal a smaller figure of same sort. Whatever we have opened from top to bottom, the same kind of smaller figure will be there inside, and then again you open that second one, you'll get a third one inside which is again of same sort, but size is small, and like this you can pile them up and close it. Okay, so from outside it will look like one doll only, but as you keep on opening them, separating them, the top and bottom, you will find that smaller dolls will come out. The first Russian nested doll set was carved in 1890 by Vasily Vyostochkin. The doll set was painted by the folk crafts painter Sergei Malyutin, who was inspired by a set of Japanese wooden dolls representing the seven gods of fortune. So, Japanese also had wooden dolls, and they used to represent the seven gods of fortune, and inspired by those Japanese wooden dolls, Valisi in 1890 prepared this Russian nested doll set. The Japanese, now we are starting the lesson further, right? That was the recap we had done. Now we are proceeding further. Okay, so let's read it. The Japanese used dolls for various purposes. A primitive Japanese doll was made of sticks and strings covered with paper clothing. Some dolls were dressed and fed and treated as though alive. These dolls were given to mothers to ward off evil from their children. So now this dolls with the Japanese had, that is the Japanese wooden dolls, and it was again a set of dolls. Okay, and it represented seven gods of fortune. So there was a set of seven dolls, and the Japanese used these dolls for various purposes. Now, the primitive Japanese doll, it was made up of sticks and strings, and it was covered with paper clothing, right? And some dolls, they were dressed and then they were fed, that is, they were given food and they were treated as though alive. Now, in India also, children, if you see in some of the houses, you must have seen that there are deities, there are god which are treated as if they are alive. Like if you visit some houses, you will see that they have Krishna Bhagwan at their home, and they dress, they give bath to God, they dress them, they feed them, and they treat them, they play with God. Okay, the baby form of Krishna is there, so they treat as if it is a child, right? They are treated as though they are alive, and they are dressed, they are fed, they are made to sleep. There is special bed for them, there is special room for them. Okay, so same way the Japanese, they they also had some dolls, and these dolls were dressed, they were fed, and they were treated as though alive. And these dolls were given to mothers to ward off evil from their children. So mothers were given so that no evil will come to their children. Okay, so to protect their children from any sort of evil, these dolls were presented to mothers. Japanese women who desired to have a child presented dolls at a place of worship. The Japanese also have ceremonial dolls for boys and girls. These are not for playing, but for simply exhibiting on a specific day. The boys exhibit their warrior dolls on March 3, and the girls' festival falls on May 5. So, now the another culture of Japanese is that the Japanese women who desired to have a child, so what they used to do is they used to present a doll at a place of worship, and they believe that by presenting a doll at a place of worship, they will get a child. So they have this belief. The Japanese also have ceremonial dolls for boys and girls. Both boys and girls, they have their ceremonial dolls, and these dolls are not for playing. They don't play with these dolls, but they simply exhibit, they simply show it on the specific day. Now, what are these days? The boys exhibit their warrior dolls on March 3. So, dates are fixed. For boys to exhibit their warrior dolls, it is March 3, and girls' festival, when they will exhibit their dolls, it falls on May 5. So, the dates are pre-decided for both boys as well as girls, and on that particular day they will exhibit their dolls, which are not meant for playing but for exhibiting. The use of dolls in religious ceremonies continues till date. Yes, even in India, dolls are used for religious ceremonies. Now, even today, dolls are used. Scenes of the birth of baby Jesus, Mother Mary, Joseph, and the shepherds. These are called crib dolls and are not meant for playing. So, dolls, as this says, are used for religious ceremonies even today. Till date, they are used. If you have been to church during Christmas, you must have seen the scenes of birth of baby Jesus, Mother Mary, Joseph, shepherds, then there are animals. So they all are displayed there, and dolls are used to display the entire scene of birth of Jesus and then Mother Mary and all that. Yeah, and these dolls which are used to create the scenes, these are called crib dolls, and they are not meant for playing. They are only taken out during special religious ceremonies and then they are placed back. Okay, so they are called crib dolls. Let's see next. Now we will see about India. In northern India, the story of Krishna's birth, Janmashtami, is depicted through clay dolls. Now, children, I am very sure you must have seen this in our city also. During the Krishna's birth, that is Janmashtami, in our city also there are places where there is display. They depict, they exhibit the life story of Krishna through various dolls, right? And there are dolls which are made of uh, sticks, there are dolls which are made out of clay, there are certain statues. Okay, so they use all that, they use cradle. So this way they depict the Krishna's birth. So in northern India, especially in the northern part of India, the story of Krishna's birth is depicted through clay dolls. And in Bihar, the story of Shama Chak festival is depicted through clay images. The Chak festival, the whole thing is displayed through clay images. So they are all in the doll form but made out of clay, right? In the southern state of Tamil Nadu and in some parts of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, the festival of Navratri is celebrated with the setting up of the dolls display Golu. Now, in southern states, that is Tamil Nadu, and in some parts of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka also, during the festival of Navratri, what they do is they set up the dolls display. They set up an entire display of dolls, and this display of doll is called Golu. See, different states celebrate the festival in their own way. Okay, now in northern part of India, the story of Krishna's birth, that is Janmashtami, is depicted through clay dolls, right? In our city also it is done, but in our city, apart from the depiction through clay dolls, we also have fairs, right? We have Janmashtami fair, and we celebrate it with great pomp and show. You know, the way it is celebrated in this part of India, it is not celebrated in other parts of India like this, right? So that is very important how different, see, that is the diversity of our country, how different states celebrate the same festival but in their own way. They have their own style of celebrating, right? So during the festival of Navratri in southern states of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka, they set up dolls display, which is called Golu. Whereas, what do we do in Navratri? Here, in this part of the country, what we do is we have Garba, right? We celebrate by dancing on all the 9 nights, right? And there they display dolls. So that is the diversity. Within the country, there is diversity of the culture in different states. Yeah. Now, what is Golu? Let's see that. So, women set up decorated planks in the corner of the house. Now, what is planks? I hope you all know. Planks are those wooden pieces. So, they set up decorated planks. The planks are decorated in the corner of the house, and then These planks are decorated with dolls and they are displayed for 10 days. During Navratri, what they do is they take these planks and put it in the corner of the house, and then on these planks they place the dolls and they display it for 10 days. These Navratri dolls are arranged in several tiers, usually 7, 9, or 11. So, you can see the picture in the book. It is kind of steps. The tiers are there, and they are usually in 7, 9, or 11 in number. So, these tiers, they set up dolls on them, and these are called the Navratri dolls. They are special dolls. Okay, they are not the dolls which you play with, right? They are specially for exhibiting, they are not for playing. Okay, so have you noticed that in this lesson we have seen that in each of the country, they have certain kind of dolls which are for playing, and then there are certain other kinds of dolls which are simply there to exhibit, to display, but not to play. So that is very important. Okay, we have seen, like in Japanese, earlier we have read that Japanese also have ceremonial dolls. Now these dolls are for boys and girls, but they are not the dolls to be played with. They are to exhibit on the special days. Okay, so when the specific day, that is March 3 for boys and May 5 for girls, so they have to exhibit on that specific day. They don't have to play day to day with these dolls. So same is with this Navratri dolls. They are to be displayed. You don't have to play with these dolls. Now, at the end of the festival, that is for 10 days, they are displayed, and when there is end of the festival, the golu is dismantled and packed for the next year. Okay, they just remove all the dolls and the planks and all, dismantle the whole thing, and they pack it for the next year. They are not to be played, uh, used to play daily. I hope it's clear to you. Let's move forward. In Africa, dolls were treated with magical powers. There was a custom of giving an adult girl a doll which she kept with her till she had her first baby. Then she was given another doll which she kept till she had her second baby. Now we are going to see how the Africans use the dolls, right? So, in Africa, dolls were treated with magical powers. They put some magical powers into the doll, and then there was a custom that when there is an adult girl, they will give a doll to her, and this doll that girl has to keep with her till she had her first baby. Okay, and when she gets her first baby, then she was given another doll. Okay, and this doll, they were treated with magical powers. So then she was given another doll which she kept till she had her second baby. Okay, so second baby, she was given another doll for second baby. Right, children? So children, today we are going to do this till here for our lesson 11, dolls over the ages. I hope the concept is clear to you, how the dolls are used in different countries for different purposes, and how these dolls are different. The dolls which are used to play are of one kind, and the dolls which are used for display, for exhibiting, they are of a different kind, and they are not same. We also discussed in this video about how dolls are used differently in the same country. Like in our country, India, in the northern part of India, how dolls are used differently, and in the southern part of India, how they are used differently. Again, we discussed about the diversity of culture within our country, right? Say the example of festival of Navratri, how it is celebrated in different ways in different parts of the country, right? In our state, we have a culture of um doing Garba, that is our Garba dance for 9 nights, right? Whereas in South India, they have the culture of setting up Golu, right? If we see in the eastern part of our country, that is in West Bengal, Kolkata, and all, there they have Durga Puja. So they have their own way of celebrating Navratri. So, this we have seen the diversity. You must have noted that in this lesson, we are basically discussing the diversity of the cultures, right? How dolls are used in different countries in different way, and within the country also it is used in so many different ways, right children? So with this we come to end of our today's session, and we'll continue this session, this lesson further in our next session. Till then, goodbye, take care.